somehow kind of answered it. It was about the book cover. You talked about the patient, so I'm beginning to see. Yeah. How did you come up with that cover?
When I commissioned the book cover, I commissioned it from professional book cover makers, and I sent the people some extracts and a synopsis of the book, and I also said I want it to show somebody who's hidden. The only thing I could come up with was like a face that was scratched out in some way, so you couldn't see the face. And he came up with this, and I just took one look at it and said, that's it. You know, it said so much. Obviously the patient's bandaged, but it also shows somebody who is hidden from view. Because I think that's part of the human condition as well. We show people what we want them to see of us, but the real person is hidden. So, yeah, that's what it came about. It was somebody else's invention, but really good.
It's kind of worked out for you.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly, yeah. Anything else? Come on, folks.
Well, just the location itself. I'm quite interested about Cornwall itself. Why Cornwall?
Cornwall?
It holds a special place in your heart.
It holds a special place in my heart. I lived there twice. I've lived twice in Cornwall. And the first time I lived in Cornwall, I actually lived in the house that I've described.
Or the one that he goes back to?
Yeah. The one where he's brought up in.
Yeah.
I lived in that house for a year. It belonged to the mother of a friend of mine. And it was a very large house. She was a very rich lady, and she had her own beach, which was open to the public, but it was hers. And several other houses around, and lots of land and everything. But it just seemed like an ideal place to set something, so I thought I'll give him that house. And also I went through some experiences there that I described in a very exaggerated way in Mousehead. Except in Mousehead they packed him when he's older. But I actually went through some of those experiences there. One of the things in Mousehead, I described madness as being like a black flower growing in him. And that was my experience of having a nervous breakdown, a very severe nervous breakdown, was of something actually growing in me. And that was the feeling of it. So, so I used those experiences to write the book, and so I set it. But I wanted it set in two different places as well. I wanted it to leave that life, to go to another life, which was like unreal in a lot of ways, and then to return to his roots, if you like.
I mean, you've done a bit of, you've moved around.
I've moved around a bit, yeah.
Quite a lot.
One or two places. I've lived in most places. But it's like,
So there's a kind of
it's
a
an
way
name
to
one
describe
time.
your life, your sort of lifestyle in a way, to describe your sort of experiences.
It describes the lifestyle. I was a complete dropout. I grew my hair down to my waist and just sort of bummed around and didn't work and drank an awful lot. Was a ne'er-do-well, as they say. Yes, definitely.
Hippie.
Yes, a hippie of the worst sort. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think different places allow you to be different people?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, yeah. If you are affected by your environment, but also by the people that you're mixing with. So for him, it was a way of being able to be whatever he wanted to be. Moving to London was where all his mad friends, I described them as, how do I describe them? Can't remember now. Who's got a copy.
But you definitely described
I've got
it.
No, that's it.
There's a well-loved copy.
Described. Yes, yes. What? Ah, yes, those, his friends are those reckless sons and daughters of impossibility, I describe his friends. They're all the people I used to mix with, the complete loonies, where you didn't think twice about strangeness and weirdness and insanity, really. You just thought that was the norm. I lived in a place then which I've described very much so in the book, a squat. I only lived in it for a short time, fortunately. Well, it was so bad that we were out on the street one day and somebody said, "Oh look, that tower block's on fire." And everyone went, "Oh yeah," carried on talking, you know. It was that bad, so. There you go. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Your book takes us on a journey, and along that journey we meet different characters.
Yeah.
Which out of all of those would you say is your favourite, or the one that you found the most interesting to write about?
Oh gosh.
McGinty.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
McGinty was very interesting.
McGinty.
Yeah.
We'll have a
You see, the thing is, the characters themselves are real, all based on real people.
Yeah, no, sorry, we've all voted.
You've all voted on McGinty. McGinty was actually, his real name was McGuinness, but I just didn't want to call him McGuinness because of Guinness, and also drinking Guinness, it would have been complicated, so I called him McGinty. Now, the first time I met him, he was, as I described him, a drunken old Irish poet and crackpot. Just a bum, really. And the second time I met him, I bumped into him when I was living in Blackpool. And we went around his store together. He was going up to people going and picking up books and going, ready? Completely insane. They're very funny though. But and then the last time I actually heard about him, I didn't meet him again, but I heard somebody said, "Oh, didn't you know McGinty is a guru now?" So I thought he's got to be a guru for the book. Oh, definitely. So I made him one, ripping people off, ripping the gullible off. Yeah. So yeah, I suppose he was partly my favourite. Although I did really like writing about Trixie, who was his girlfriend. She's based on a couple of people, so because she's a very extreme character, so I enjoyed writing about her, because also she's like everybody in it. Everybody's ambivalent, everybody's got, like, you think you know them, then you find out you don't, because they're not what you think they are. And she turned out to be not what he thinks she is. But also, I wanted to write the first chapter where they meet. I actually wanted to write a chapter about sex without it being like a pornographic chapter, you know. So I wanted it just to have the emotion and the feeling and the weirdness and the, especially with somebody who's young, 20-year-old, you know. So I wanted to have all that, and so it was like a challenge.
But you did quite well, Barry.
To
it was very quite graphic.
No, it's not too graphic.
It was. No.
It's not graphic, but you feel it's graphic.
It was,
but it's not actually graphic. Is the idea.
I wonder you understand. You get in the mind of a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And you have to put in the mind of a 20-year-old how they would view women or.
Yeah. It's just so I can remember, you see. I may forget what I did yesterday.
It was.
I can remember. You get to my age, it happens. Yes. Anything else? Yes.
What sort of people do you expect to read your book? I'm looking at sort of age group.
I don't know really. I mean, anybody could read it. I think you can read it on different levels, you see. You can just read it and say, I mean, I think people might get confused by it because it's not a linear book, and I think that makes a difference to because most people are just used to reading a book that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I think it can be a bit confusing. I would like to. I think just people that love writing, that love good writing, that love literature, that love books. I think anybody really could read it. I hope so, anyway. I mean, it's not your blockbuster book that you're going to buy at the airport and read on the plane, by any means. And it was never intended to be. It's always been intended. It was always intended to be something that people who want to sit down and actually read a book that's going to affect their way of thinking. I mean, plenty of books have been written like that have become classic books that have actually, I mean, I remember when I was 14, 15, reading a book called On the Road by Jack Kerouac that affected so many people in their lives, thousands and thousands of people were affected by this one book. It changed a lot of people's lives. And then you go back to people like authors like George Orwell, who moved people in their lives, you know, who changed people. A lot of people become very lazy these days. That's why blockbusters are so popular, because they're, I mean, I started reading one of the Bourne books, The Bourne Identity, and I got halfway through it and gave up. It was just, I thought, why am I reading this, you know?
That was going to be my next question. But given what this is now modern world, do you think some of the readers, when they read it, because it looks disjointed, they will read and say, I'm not going to bother about it, because people are used to reading linear.
I've no doubt that will happen. I've no doubt, but I can't. What can I do? You know, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't decide who's going to enjoy it and who isn't. All I can do is be honest to myself and write it the way it came out, you know. But that's the way it is. So, you know, if people don't like it, there's nothing I can do about that. They just have to wait till my next book, which is called Almosh Darley and the Beast of Bodmin, will be a detective story. Nice and linear, with a beginning, a middle and an end. You find out who done it in the end. So, yeah, so it's up to the individual, really. I can't control that. Yes.
What genre are your books and what draws you to that genre, would you say? Would you say it's the same or they're all different?
No, the thing is, everything I've written, and I think it's been a bit deliberate. There's been a different genre, really, or not. Mousehead, I suppose, is what you would sort of call high literature, I suppose. But I've written an adventure story, a fairy story. I'm writing. Well, I've written more or less written the whodunit. I'm writing just a very weird book about somebody who lives in a huge castle. I mean, there's just different. There are different genres. I don't want to be stuck to one genre, basically. I'd rather just write what I want to write and enjoy what I'm doing. Okay? Yes.
You said that this work started about 25 odd years ago.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is, since I'm writing as well, how much have you actually changed from the first time that you finished the first draft?
No major changes, details, words, specific sentences is where the changes come.
So There's been no change to the actual structure of your story.
Not structurally, no. The main changes have been that, well, I just refined it. Because of the way it's written, you know, you can write a story in which you say, you know, he walked into the room and there were 14 people sitting there and he said hello to them. Or you can write a story where you're talking about the inner workings of somebody's mind, where you've got, the only way you can do it is to write it in a poetic, not as poetry, but in a poetic form, where you're using words more carefully, because you know, each word has got to produce something out of it, rather than just straightforwardly telling a story. So that's what took so long, was constantly tinkering with it and perfecting it. Yeah.
To make it sing.
To make it sing, yeah, that's it, yeah. That's it. Yes.
Mine might be quite simple. I know in chapter 3 you said, for Mousehead is not me, yet to see him is not to see me. And you take aspects of your own life and you put them in the book. Have you found that through writing this book, you've had some cathartic release, or you've been able to, you made us travel on this journey? Have you found that throughout the process?
Yeah, that's a good question. I found it initially I found it really difficult to write, because I think when I started writing it, I was still sort of quite tender in a lot of ways. And it brought up, because I had to put myself back into that frame of mind. And when you put yourself back into a situation where I had a nervous breakdown. It was so bad, I completely disintegrated mentally. I mean, to the extent of sort of walking up to people on the street and saying help. You know, and it's not a nice place to be. And so to actually have to put yourself back there to get the emotion the way you felt was a really difficult thing to do. Once I'd been through that and done that, then it wasn't so bad. Once I got it on paper, then it was okay. Then I could just tinker with it and
maybe come out of it, that reflective process.
But initially, yeah, it was very difficult. That bit, I said, no, the author makes a brief appearance. It was very much tongue-in-cheek as well, because it says, you know, to see Mousehead is to see me, he says.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of distancing myself from myself there.
That's what I thought.
So what was that actual inspiration? What got you older? Because you talk of Mousehead having a lot of published books and all sorts, a lot of paperwork, like being stacked up in this room. You haven't actually quite finished.
Yeah.
You're talking a few yourself.
Yeah.
What's that where did you get that inspiration to actually follow through that? Get the job done after 20 years or so?
I don't know. I think as I got older, I thought I can't just leave all these books sitting around. And what had put me off for years and years and years was sending stuff off to publishers and getting rejection slips. I've got a folder full of rejection slips.
Oh, you'd send them over?
Yeah. I mean, there was even one story I nearly got published, and they were saying, yes, we're going to publish it, and then they changed their mind at the last minute. So I got fed up with that, and as I say, as you get older, you think you've just got to make the most of every second of your life, you know. And so that was one of the things I had to do.
Well, did you consider changing careers or doing something different, like managing a boutique shop, like Danny in the book? You know, did you consider it at any point?
No. The only career move I made was from being a quality manager to a bus driver, which is quite a career move. But it suited me more. But now I'm just ancient and retired, so now's the time to do these things. You know, there's certain things I want to do in my life. I can enjoy what's left of it, and hopefully it's going to be an awful long time because I only live to 108 and annoy my children. one of the things I wanted to do was to actually get this writing career as a career, to actually get things published, to do it, you know. And now, because of the internet, you could do these things. You couldn't do this before. This would have been impossible. So that's one of the dreams that I've managed to fulfill. What will come of it, I don't know, but I'll carry on doing it. I'll carry on publicising now, I can carry on producing other books. And the other things I want to do before I finally drop dead is, if I can find the time and the nerve, to do stand-ups. Yeah, I'd love to have a go at it. I don't know if I think I'd be rubbish, but I'd love to have a go.
You'd be good.
And to play the blues band. So, that's my bucket list in its entirety.
Do it, definitely.
Yeah.
And to have more children, of course, no. Yes, Charles.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the sections in the book reflect your life.
Yeah.
If you were growing up and where you are now.
Yeah.
And there are sections there. I've got to be honest, I haven't read all of it. I've read parts of it. Are there any sections within the book which reflects the life of your wife, Teresa?
No, it's all from before I knew her, so there's no mention or idea of her at all.
Fantasy.
So, it was all written before.
So no, I was thinking because it took 25 years to...
No, because, see, the thing is that I didn't want to introduce any new characters to it, because it was complicated enough as it was anyway. So, and also I didn't want him to have a wife. I wanted him to be alone as an old man.
Yeah.
And with the description of him is that he's got these sort of curling photographs of women on his mantelpiece, some of whom he may have almost married at some point, you know. That he's never succeeded in anything. He's a failure.
I thought at that point you probably would have brought in
it's a different sort of regeneration, if you like, that he has. It's a different outcome for him. Is that it?
In terms of Mousehead being a bit of a recluse, and, in a way, do you think Aubrey, Aunt Audrey, Dorothy, yeah. You think in a way it kind of shaped, it forged the sort of person he became later on in life? Because they had a special relationship.
I think so, yeah, partly, yeah, because they were very much kindred spirits. She was actually based on a real person who was called Aunt Anne, who lived in a caravan outside the house in Cornwall where I lived. Wouldn't go in the house. Was connected to royalty and told the story about King Edward having legs like stripped down herrings. So that was a real conversation at the beginning of it. But when you've known a character like that, you say, oh, I've got to use this character. You've got to incorporate somebody as insane as that into a story. So, yeah, I think that it wasn't that she influenced him, it's just that they were kindred spirits because they were both loners. That's why they could...
Yeah, but how long did they live together for then?
All their lives.
All their lives,
yeah.
So that's why I was asking that.
Yeah.
Could, like, her personality...
I'm sure, yes, it would have...
In a way, in a different way.
It would have... it would have shaped him, yeah, anybody would, yeah, definitely. Because he couldn't talk to his parents at all.
Yeah,
he had no relationship with his parents. They were very distant. So his real relationship was with her. Yeah. So yeah, it would have shaped him, definitely, yes.
I don't know whether my question might be a little technical, but
That's all right.
your Mousehead is not a linear work,
No.
and yet your life is linear,
Yeah.
and your imagined life of Mousehead in your head
Yeah.
is linear.
Yeah.
Did you have to plot Mousehead's imaginary life before you could break it up into
Oh, I see what you mean.
the bits, or does it remain something that's
Not
within
really.
you?
It's something that was within me. What it is, I knew where he was going to come from.
Yeah.
And I knew where he was going to end up. I'd thought this all out.
Right.
And the only way thing then was to make... Well, my original idea, what I wanted was to
So
imagine...
it's never a linear story. in
Imagine
the
that
first
you've
place.
got a box. You found
Yeah.
a box somewhere under a bed. And you
Ah.
opened it up. And there's all these papers in it.
Yeah.
And it's somebody's life.
Yeah.
And you pick them out, and together, although they're out not in any particular order, they make
gradually
the
make
story.
sense.
Together they make sense. But what I did was, every time I jumped from one bit to another, in each chapter, it's all following the same theme, if you like. It's a themic continuation throughout the whole thing, so that you're building, every bit is to build on what the reader is feeling
Yeah.
throughout it. So it's again, it's specifically to take you on a journey,
Yeah.
and so it's all deliberately done to take you on a
So
journey.
you didn't have to plot the line.
No,
to
because
begin with.
there's so
That
many
was-
gaps in it.
Right.
There's huge gaps in it. It only talks about 3 specific times of his life. When he was growing up, I suppose that's the longest
Yeah.
period, because it's when he was a small child up until he's hitting puberty. But the rest of it is, when he's 20, it's over maybe a year at the most. And when he's an old man, it's over a few days. So, and as I say, the patient part of it is just a completely separate. Although it's allegedly written by Mousehead, it's a separate part of it. But again, it's emotional reinforcement, because you're looking at the inside of his imagination. Yeah. Yeah, that works. So.
Thank you.
Excellent, you're welcome. Anything else? Chicago?
Yeah, he's been trying to get a word in all this time. Ignored him.
There was a lot of backstabbing, and it was quite emotional.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you include that? You know, he lived a very miserable life. You know.
He did live a
Everything about
miserable
it just
life,
never
yes.
worked. You know, from his family,
That's right, yeah.
girlfriends, friends, everything about it. There's a lot of backstabbing. You know.
Yeah.
Is it personal experience or it's just in your head?
That was my personal experience of the 60s.
Because
was
nobody seemed
disillusionment.
genuine in that book at all, writing the word go.
No, they
The only-
don't.
The only bright lights was probably towards the end, you know, where you had maybe like a one-to-one with his dad. But that was the only positive thing that actually came out.
Yeah,
Everything about it.
one of the themes in it is that nothing is as you see. So when you think and the same as him, when he thinks he knows somebody, all these heroes turn out to be made of
Everything
clay.
was, yeah, disappointment.
Every hero he has turns out to be made of clay. And that's true. I think as you're growing up, you think the world of people. You think they're amazing. Especially me. I mean, you've got to remember, I was from that time, in the 60s, when if somebody was, the further out somebody was, the more you liked them, the weirder and madder they were. But of course they were just bums and nutcases.
Oh, yeah.
But you thought they were fantastic. Wow, look at this guy, he's so cool. But they weren't. And so that's one of the things I tried to show, was that nothing was as it seems, because it's about the human condition where we think we know things and we find out we don't.
It's all of this.
We're always wrong-footed as human beings, and that's one of the things I try to show in that.
Well, tell us a bit more about McKinsey.
McKinsey.
Oh yeah, please, I see it. He's my favorite character. I need to know. I'm actually looking for.
McKinsey.
Yeah,
I love
I'm actually looking
McKinsey. He's
some
the
chat
worst
to you.
guru you've ever seen in your life. He says, he even says that nobody actually wants to know the truth. All they want is to hear things that sound good.
Was he?
Yeah.
You know, as long as it sounds good, they're great with that, but they don't want to know anything that's really true. They just like the journey. And I think that's true of a lot of people, you know, and especially in those days. It was very true in those days. And whatever sounded far out what people were into, you know. I can see a kindred spirit there. Yeah, so it was a very fake time. I know there was a lot of good things about the 60s.
Surely it couldn't be that bad.
There were great things about the 60s, but there was also an awful lot of fakeness going on. And in the end, disillusionment because it didn't work. You know, the whole hippie thing collapsed in a heap. And
I think it was a naive time.
it was very nice.
Because I think there were plenty of people who were genuinely looking for love and, you know, a new world, overthrowing all the sort of capitalist, self-serving things. You know, there was all the love and peace stuff. But I think it was built on sand and it was naive.
It was.
Which
very
is
much
why
It was intentionally
completely, when it collapsed in a heap.
Oh yeah, completely.
And some of the major hippies dropped back in and opened ridiculously pricey shops on the King's Road and made a load of dosh, thereby completely contradicting their utopian dream.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So it was a naive thing, wasn't it?
It was naive, yeah.
And
it was very naive.
I would suggest that Mousehead fell victim to that naivety.
He did, and it was a time of you know, it was a time of great hope that was dashed, which was a sad thing really. But also one of the themes of the book is regret, and he regrets everything. It sort of follows him around, this huge mountain of regret that's weighing him down. So yeah, that's one of the themes. Yes.
If Mousehead was to lecture today's youth from his experiences in the 60s, what would you say?
Give up now!
What would he say?
Yes.
He would. I think Mousehead. I tell you what Mousehead would say. He would say what I would say because he's very much me. He would say to today's youth, live your lives. You know, live them. If I can find, can I? Oh yeah, if you use mine, and your tassie coffee.
A lot of beer on it.
Oh wow, that's what I call a well-used.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Take it everywhere.
That's a nice one. I got all four of you.
You'll just have to hold on a second while I look for this particular game. Yeah, this is what I was saying to them. This is a letter from Aunt Dorothy. Never give in, dearest Aubrey. Never give in. Refuse to be old. Refuse to be wise. Refuse to wear a tie, or cross now, or toe the line, or play the game, or act your age.